They promised nothing would come between them, but they were wrong. On a quiet village where evenings softened even the heaviest hearts, Usher and Nalia were known as one soul in two bodies. People said you could not speak of one without the other. They grew up sharing everything: clothes, laughter, secrets whispered under a worn mosquito net, and dreams too big for the small world they knew. Usher was warmth and light, the kind of girl who filled a room before she even entered it. Nalia was quiet and steady, the kind of presence that felt like home without needing to be seen. They had once made a promise beneath an old mango tree, their fingers sticky with fruit and their hearts innocent. No one would ever come between them. They believed it the way children believe in forever. Then Kale arrived, and nothing broke at once. It would have been easier if it had. He became part of their days slowly, almost gently, like someone who had always been meant to be there. He laughed with Usher, matching her energy in a way that made everything feel alive. But when Nalia spoke softly, carefully, he listened differently, as if her words carried something he didn't want to miss. At first it was easy. The three of them walked together at sunset, their shadows stretching into one. They shared stories, quiet moments, and long silences that somehow never felt empty. But slowly, something unspoken began to grow. Not loud enough to be named, but strong enough to be felt. Usher felt it as a flicker of doubt she refused to entertain. Nalia felt it as a quiet ache she tried to bury, and Kale carried it in the way his eyes always found Nalia, even when Usher was right beside him. When the sky was fading into something darker, Usher found the courage she had always been known for. She stood in front of Kale, her heart beating too loudly for her to think, and told him the truth. "I love you." The words hung between them, fragile and irreversible. Kale looked at her, and for a moment, he wished he could give her what she deserved. But love does not bend itself into what is convenient. "I care about you," he said quietly, his thumb brushing against hers in a fleeting, hesitant touch. "You matter to me more than you know." Usher smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. But he didn't hide this time. "It's Nalia." Something inside Usher broke, but not loudly, not dramatically. It broke the way glass cracks under pressure, silently, leaving behind something sharp and impossible to fix. She laughed softly, shaking her head. "Of course it is." That night when she returned home, Nalia didn't need to ask. She saw it in Usher's eyes. "He loves you," Usher said, her voice steady in a way that hurt more than tears. Nalia's chest tightened. "I didn't want this." "I know," Usher whispered, and gently leaned forward, cupping Nalia's face before pressing a soft, lingering kiss on her forehead, the kind that carried forgiveness, love, and unspoken understanding all at once. For days after, nothing changed on the surface, but everything had shifted underneath. Usher smiled a little less, Nalia spoke a little softer, and Kale carried a weight he could no longer ignore. Until one afternoon, when he found Nalia alone. He didn't hesitate this time. "I love you." The words landed heavier than before because now they were no longer hidden. Nalia closed her eyes, her heart finally allowed to feel what she had denied for so long. "I love you too," she whispered, her lips trembling. Kale stepped closer, hope flickering in his eyes. He gently tucked a strand of hair behind her ear before leaning in, brushing a soft, tentative kiss against her temple. "But I can't have you," she added, her voice breaking. "Why?" he asked almost desperately. "Because loving you would hurt her," Nalia said, "and I won't be the reason she breaks." Kale shook his head, reaching for her. "We can find a way." But Nalia stepped back, tears slipping down her face. "There is no way. That doesn't cost us something we can't afford to lose." When he tried to pull her closer, she placed her hand against his chest, stopping him. For a brief, fragile moment, she leaned forward and pressed a soft, trembling kiss to his lips, one that carried all the longing, restraint, and heartbreak of years spent apart. Then she pulled away and left. This time, she didn't look back. Time passed not as a healer, but as something that taught them how to exist with what remained. Usher slowly began to rebuild herself, though parts of her stayed tender. Kale carried a quiet emptiness, and Nalia learned how to live with the love she had chosen to lose. Then, unexpectedly, something changed. Usher met someone. Arhan wasn't overwhelming or intense. He didn't make her heart race in confusion or leave her questioning herself. Instead, he stayed. He listened. He saw her, not the bright version she showed the world, but the quiet, hurting parts she tried to hide. "You don't have to be strong all the time," he told her once, gently brushing his thumb against her cheek before placing a soft, reassuring kiss there. And for the first time in a long while, Usher believed it. With him, love didn't feel like something to chase. It felt like something that stayed, something that held her gently instead of pulling her apart. And slowly, without realizing it, she began to heal. When Usher saw Nalia again, there was no anger left in her, only understanding. "You can stop running," Usher said softly. Nalia shook her head, tears already forming. "I can't take what was yours." Usher smiled gently, reaching for her hand. He was never mine to begin with. The truth settled between them, not painfully this time, but peacefully. "You deserve to be loved the way you love," Usher whispered, then pulled Nalia into a tight embrace and pressed a lingering, tender kiss against her temple, soft enough to soothe the ache in her chest. Go to him, and so, for the first time, Nalia did not run. When she found Cale again, it felt like stepping into something unfinished. He looked at her as if he had been waiting, even without knowing if she would come. "I thought you chose to forget me," he said quietly. Nalia stepped closer, her voice soft but certain. "I chose not to lose myself, but I never stopped loving you." Something in him broke open at those words. This time, when he reached for her, she didn't step back. Instead, she closed the distance herself, and before their lips met, he gently cupped her face, pressing a slow, aching kiss to her forehead, as if making sure she was real. As if he had dreamed this moment too many times to trust it. Then their lips met. It was not rushed or desperate, it was slow, certain, like something long denied finally finding its place. A kiss that carried years of silence, longing and restraint. A kiss that said everything they had never been allowed to say. When they pulled apart, their foreheads rested together, their breaths uneven but calm. "I'm not letting you go again," Cale whispered. Nalia smiled softly, her hand finding his, then leaning in to place a gentle, lingering kiss against his lips once more, soft, certain, chosen. "You won't have to." Their love was not loud or perfect. It was built on understanding, on patience, on choosing each other even after everything had tried to keep them apart. He learned her silences and she learned his depths. They didn't try to change each other, they simply met in the middle, where love felt real. Karma. And one evening, beneath the same mango tree where everything had once nearly fallen apart, they all sat together again. Usher leaned gently into Uan, his hand wrapped around hers in quiet certainty, and he pressed a soft kiss to her hair as she smiled across from them. Nalia rested her head lightly against Cale's shoulder, his fingers intertwined with hers as he absent-mindedly pressed a small, tender kiss to her hand. No one spoke about the past, because they didn't need to somehow. Everything had found its place, and this time, no one had to walk away, and under the same sunset that once broke them, they finally found peace. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who believes in true love.